Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to cross the Øresund once again to go to Copenhagen in Denmark, one of the best craft beer cities in the world these days in my opinion, and we're going to revisit probably one of the most famous craft breweries in the world these days. But this is only the second beer I've tried from their sour beer facility. I've reviewed a good number of things from the kind of regular range if you like. So for this review then we are going to return to Mikkeller and we're having a taste of another beer from Mikkeller Baghaven, which as I say is their sour beer facility, or to pronounce it correctly according to Peter the Master of Hoppets, Mikkeller Baghaven. As I've told you before, Danish, it's a crazy language to pronounce. As a Swedish speaker it's easy enough to read, but trying to listen to it and pronounce it, it's just impossible to be honest. So there's a bit of rivalry between the Swedes and the Danes that way. But yeah, this particular beer is called the Stevnsbær, or the Stevensberries if you want to translate it into English, and this one comes in at 8% ABV, and it's somewhat like a creek this. It uses a special type of Danish cherry called the Stevensbær, of course, and they come from Lolland, which is just to the kind of south of Zealand, where you'll find Copenhagen. So really curious to try this beer again. I tried this one already at the Mikkeller Baghaven Wild Ale celebration, so you can see me do a little quick video of this one on the festival video that I did, and I know that this is a nice beer, but it was really nice and very uniquely Danish, so I thought I really want to get a bottle of this and do a proper sit down review for you. So really looking forward to trying this one again, thinking about it a little bit more, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. Very curious to see what it has in store. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. I've been getting really into my sour beers lately, so do give me some other sour beer recommendations in the comment section below. But yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Mikkeller before. No doubt there will be some more at some point in the near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, but pretty regularly because I live very close to Copenhagen of course. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Mikkeller then, on to my brewery notes. So as I've told you before, Mikkeller is the famous Danish gypsy brewery that was founded by Christian Keller and Mikkel Bjergso, although it's now run exclusively by Bjergso, who actually used to be a physics and maths teacher. And again, these guys were very influenced by the American craft beer movement, and they basically started out as the home brewing experimentations of Christian and Mikkel and grew from there. But for a long time they didn't have their own brewery, but they brewed their beer at a variety of host breweries in the US, Norway, Scotland, Belgium. Most of their beer for a period of time was brewed at the De Proef Brouwerij in Locriste Heefte, just outside of Ghent in Belgium, and a number of quite a bit of the beer that you'll find in Europe actually is still brewed there. Their home base as such for a long time as well was the Mikkeller bar on Victoriagade in Copenhagen, the original one, and they also had a collaboration bar with Toul as well, whose founders are former students of Mikkel's when he was still teaching. But in April of 2016 they took over AleSmith's former brewery in San Diego after they had moved on to a larger space, and then the following year in 2017 they announced that they would establish a second brewery in Citi Field, which is home of the New York Mets, and this brewery is now up and running as well. So you quite often find beers that are listed as Mikkeller San Diego and Mikkeller New York, but they now also have this location in Copenhagen as well, which is called Baghaven in sort of anglicised Danish, but Baghaven from what I understand in regular Danish pronunciation, if you can call it that. But this is where they experiment with their sour beers. They've got 12 oak fodders there, which range from 3,000 litres to 7,000 litres in size. They started off with around 50 225 litre California Chardonnay barrels in which to age the beers, and the beers themselves are actually brewed down at War Pigs, which is their collaboration brew pub meat bar type thing that they have with Three Floyds from America. And they take the beers up to Baghaven after this, or Baghaven, and then they let them age in all the barrels and things like that. But they've got a fully equipped lab on site as well, where they can isolate new strains and make their own homegrown yeasts and stuff like this. So this gives their beers a very, very unique character actually, and it's quite different from other sour beer breweries. The brewer and blender up there is Aaron Schmidt, and he actually appears on my festival video that I did. And he's a very nice guy actually, very interesting, very, very knowledgeable. When I met him, he was having a very good day at the festival, I have to say, but a very good guy who really knows what he's doing. And there's a video somewhere on Mikkeller's YouTube of him just going out there and, you know, swabbing trees for different types of yeasts and things like that. He tests them to see if they're good for making beer, and then he'll use them in the beers and things like that if they turn out just right. But yeah, a really interesting facility that, and I do recommend that you go up and visit if you get the chance. I've also filmed an out and about video up at Mikkeller Baghaven as well, and I recommend that you check that out too. But they've also got various bars around the world. There's a good number of locations in Copenhagen itself. You've got RampantLionReviews, you have War Pigs, of course, you've got Brewed, you've got the Mikkeller and Friends bar. There's two RampantLionReviews locations actually. You've got the Mikkeller and Friends shop in the, I forget what that's called, the Saluhallen thing with the, it looks a little bit like the Louvre, the big glass thing. I forget the name of that, but there's various Mikkeller locations throughout the city that I would recommend you check out. But they've got bars now in Barcelona, Berlin, Bucharest, Stockholm, Reykjavik, Tórshavn in the Faroe Islands, Tokyo, Seoul, Taipei and Singapore. They've got a few locations, I believe, in Bangkok, in Thailand as well, and they might have even expanded that since I last made the list, but there's quite a few different Mikkeller bars around the world. But for me, probably the most interesting one I think that I've visited so far, other than War Pigs, because War Pigs probably is a firm favourite, Mikkeller Baghaven is one that is definitely worth taking a look at. I would really recommend that you try some of their sour beers if you get the chance. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Mikkeller just now. Started off as a physics and maths teacher, got bored of it, went and brewed beer, and became, you know, one of the best known brewers in the world actually, which is pretty cool. So yeah, if you want to learn more about Mikkeller, you can check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on. You can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages if you want to learn more about the different beers and things that these guys have done. There is a bit of an extensive list there on the website, but you know, they've done so many beers. It must be around 1200 or 1500 or something like that these days. They've done a hell of a lot of different beers, and it is a wee bit hard to keep up with them actually. So yeah, try some of their beers and let me know what your favourites are in the comments section below. There's that many Mikkeller beers, but this is a brewery that I definitely need to narrow things down with. But yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this beer then. So as I explained to you at the start of the video, this one comes in with 8% ABV. It's kind of like a creek. The Stevnsbær cherries that they use in this one are slightly darker than normal cherries, just from the pictures that I was looking at. They come from Lolland, which is the island to the south of Zealand, where you'll find Copenhagen, of course. And yeah, it's a really nice beer, this one. I'm just curious to do a slightly longer review on it for you there. There on the bottle you can see the outline of Mikkeller Baghaven. I really wonder if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but there you can see, really nice facility, and you'll find it in Refusloen, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is probably impossible with Danish, but yeah, you'll find it in the kind of northeastern part, if you like, of Copenhagen. You have to take the number 5 bus from the main station to get out there, otherwise you're going to be struggling to actually find the place. It really is in a very random location, but there is Brodin and Bill Brewery out there, as well as some very nice food. I forget what that there's a lot of nice little restaurants and things dotted around there. Former industrial area that has just been transformed a bit. But yeah, lovely presented beer, this one. All of the Mikkeller Baghaven beers have this kind of label, just different colours and stuff. So without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. I'm very curious just to examine this beer a little bit more closely, and do give me some other recommendations for beers to check out from Mikkeller Baghaven. They've brewed quite a few different beers already, to be honest, so again, it's a little bit difficult to keep up with all the different things that they've done. So yeah, as you can see, a little bit of smoke on the opening, and we'll get this guy out and into the glass. I should also mention, something came out of that there, I should also mention that this is the second blend of this beer. The first one was produced back in 2018. It came in at 8.1% ABV, and this one I think was released just in time for the first Mikkeller Baghaven Wild Ale celebration, which you saw me go to if you've been watching the channel. So yeah, as you can see with this one, I wonder if that was a bit of the carbon dioxide that got me there. It did all of a sudden just hit me. But yeah, as you can see with this one, it actually has poured. I remember it being a bit lighter than this, but in fairness, this glass is a lot thicker than the one I was drinking with at the festival. But yeah, this one's poured a lovely kind of red winey colour. It's a lovely kind of rich burgundy purplish colour. But like I said to you, these cherries, the Stevnsbær cherries, are quite a bit darker than regular cherries. They were pretty much the same colour as this beer turns out. So just look at that, very, very dark sort of burgundy coloured beer, this one. You can see, you could see when this beer was pouring, there was a little thin layer of a very kind of violet coloured head, a really nice dark purpley head there. That's just faded away to be not even a very thin foamy layer. There's just a few bubbles kind of sitting there, but the carbonation in this particular beer is pretty active. There's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass. You can see a few little ones going up towards the surface there. But overall, it looks pretty nice, and with sour beers you can of course get them with all these crazy kind of colours coming out of them. But yeah, a lovely dark sort of violet red wine type colour, this beer, burgundy. Not sure exactly how to say this one, but yeah, let's have a little look at the aroma in this and see how we get on. Oh yeah, that's a lovely smelling beer, this one. So straight away with this one, you get the cherries. For me, they've got a little bit of that sharpness to them, but they've also got a lovely kind of juicy quality as well. You know, I have to admit, when we were at the Sour Beer Festival, there was a lot of very, very good sour beer breweries there. But I did find that after a while, the sour beer kind of thing, it took its toll on you after a little while. I think probably a good idea with a sour beer festival is to, you know, do half of the session, have a regular beer like a Pils or something like that, just clean your palate up a little bit and then go back to it, because drinking these big heavy sour things all the time, for me the sour beers are more of a treat. I really like them, but I couldn't drink them and session them the way you had to do at the festival. That's one of the things about drinking these sour beers in my mind. But you know, this one, the aromas that you get out of these beers and the flavours are absolutely lovely. But for me, like an imperial stout or a big Scotch ale or something, a sour beer, I would consider it as more of a treat rather than anything else. But yeah, as I said, this one, the cherry notes that you get out of this, the Stevensbær notes, they come across as very juicy and very mellow, I think. It's nice that, because it does have, it's almost got, these cherries have almost got some of the juiciness that you would expect of like blackberries or blackcurrants or something like that. They do have, they've got that distinctive kind of cherry aroma, of course, but there is just a little bit more juiciness to it, akin to like blackberries or blackcurrants or something like that. There are a few more fruity complexities to this one, like subtleties, so maybe it does have a wee bit of a blackcurranty blackberry thing to it. In fairness, that's probably what made me think of it. But yeah, lovely kind of rich oily cherry notes there, but with a little bit more juiciness, as I said. Underneath that you get the lovely woody notes. It's got this the big oaky kind of smoothness that you expect. You can smell a little bit of a, for me there's a very light kind of brown sugary note in there. It's almost a little bit like butterscotchy, Werther's Original type thing. There is a little bit of that coming out of this beer for me. And it's almost, there is a little bit of vanilla in there as well, and that's quite a subtlety. I mean, the thing with the sour beers I always find is that in terms of aroma, I don't think these are the most complex things that you're going to come across. Quite often, it's a nice bit of smooth oakiness. You get some vanilla out of it, and you can sometimes get a little bit of brown sugar, and then it's all about the different types of fruits and things that are in there. And this beer kind of fits that mould as well. And the other ones that I've tried from Mikkeller Baghaven as well have always had that kind of vibe to them. And a lot of the other sour beers I tried at the festival were kind of the same. It's all about how the flavours make the transitions for me when it comes to sour beers. That's what makes a really good solid sour in my mind, or wild ale I guess I should say. But yeah, lovely juicy fruity notes to this. For me there is a little bit of grassiness to this one. I would guess that either this beer doesn't have hops in it, or they're using, you know, very old hops like Belgian hops, and that's quite a common thing to do over in Belgium, is just to use old hops in the beers, because then it doesn't, the bitterness doesn't take over, or doesn't take focus away from the sour side of the beer. But yeah, the aroma on this is absolutely lovely. Definitely a little bit of grassiness to it in my mind. But as I say, when it's aged, it says on the bottle that it's aged between 12 and 36 months. When it's aged for somewhere between a year and 3 years, most of your hoppy character is going to drop away anyway, even if you have used hops in the beer, and more so when it's most likely older hops that they're using in it. So yeah, a little bit of grassiness in there for me. That kind of blends in with the woodiness that the beer has. A little teeny touch of earthiness maybe, but that just adds to the kind of smooth base that you have. But the juiciness of the fruits that come out of this beer for me is really, really very nice. So take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But we're going to have a taste of this one now and just see how we get on. So this one is the Stevnsbær, an 8% cherry sour, basically a Danish take on a creek from what I'm led to believe, using Stevnsbær cherries from Lolland, the islands just to the south of Sjælland in Denmark. Really curious to try this one again because I know it's a lovely beer. Blend number 2 I should say as well. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. Oh yeah. Yeah, these sour beers are just lovely. I mean, I always say when you take these in, you really have to let your mouth adjust, because I've just taken that in there and it really is very, very puckering. But as I said earlier, for the sour beers, for me, it's all about how you make that transition from being really sharp and sour in the beginning, and just how the flavours kind of roll out of the beer. And you know, this one, I would say here that this particular beer, compared to the original ones that I've tried from Mikkeller Baghaven, this one is quite a bit more advanced, if you like, and a bit further on than the original ones that I had a couple of years back. Actually, they've made a hell of a lot of progress. Sorry about the edit there, guys. Camera was being a little bit funny, as it sometimes does. But like I was saying, this beer, when you take it in, it's so big and puckering, but it smooths out absolutely beautifully. And one of the things for me is, I was never such a great fan of cherries, but in recent times I've been trying a few more sour beers with cherries just to kind of get used to the flavour, and I have to say I've really kind of changed my mind on them. And you know, this is just a beautiful example of a cherry sour. As I say, I don't know if you can technically call this one a creek because it's a different type of cherry or whatever, but you know, it's a beautiful beer, and that's the main thing. So let's try and break down the flavour of this one then. So when you take this one in, straight away you get that massive big kind of puckering thing. But the more and more sips that you take of this one, the cherries, they really begin to sort of become more oily and just juice out very, very quickly, and you can feel that lovely juiciness just around the kind of front edge of your palate. There is a little bit more complexity to the fruity side of this beer, but we'll look at that again a little bit later on. But in the middle of your palate, like I was saying, it's got a lovely, very, very smooth, oaky base to the beer. If you go to the very centre of your palate, you could be forgiven for thinking there's a little bit of a kind of butterscotchy, kind of almost fudgy type flavour in there. It's not really oily at all, but it's just very, very, very smooth actually, and that just sits on top of the wood, and it's absolutely beautiful, I have to say. The way that the malt base and the woody side of this beer balance out the other things is really very nice. If you come further forward on the palate as well, you do start to get some of those kind of vanilla notes that you'll always get when things are aged on oak. You know, actually what wood you use to age beers can change quite a lot. There's a number of the Japanese sakes that I've reviewed on the channel before, and they use cedar wood, and it can give you just a really interesting, slightly spicy character, and other woods can give you other notes as well, but oak always gives you this lovely smoothness and vanilla to the beer, and as I say, that just dominates the middle of your palate. It blankets the tongue completely. You get a little bit of that kind of butterscotchy, Werther's Original fudgy type flavour in the middle of the palate there, a little bit more vanilla as you come further forward, and then you start to get the fruity notes and the hoppy side of things just kind of bouncing in with that. In the back corners of the palate there is a little touch of earthiness there from what remains of the hops, and as you come further forward that really just smoothens out a little bit, and you get the big kind of woody notes kind of mixing in with that as well. So there's a lovely balance between the kind of woody characteristics and the slightly earthy note that you get out of the hops in this. You can pick up a wee teeny little bit of floral note on the front corners of the palate, but that is very minimal. Then as you go around the front curve of the tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and more grassy, but then you've got all the kind of fruity and sour qualities pushing their way out of the beer. So let's look at those just now, because that's where the main focus really should be. But I will say the sweeter aspects and the hoppy kind of side of the beer really balances everything out very well. So yeah, like I said, when you take this one in, you get that lovely big sharpness behind the front of your palate there. It does have a degree of citric quality to it, and as I say, all of the yeasts that Mikkeller use, as far as I know, are house strains, if you like. You know, they're taken from trees and plants and airborne strains from around Refusluan and other places around Denmark and things. So you know, these sour beer notes that are in here, that it's absolutely beautiful. But if you go to the back of that kind of oily bubble, as I always say, the fruity esters in a beer come out in that little oily bubble behind the front curve of the palate. If you kind of focus on that, the oily bits that I suspect would be coming from the hops, they do have a little bit of a kind of juicy figgy quality to them. There is a little bit of a blackcurranty, a kind of blackcurranty, blackberry-ish type flavour in there as well, but obviously those are quite minimal in comparison to the cherries. You know, if you've tried, for example, Rodenbach Alexander, this beer, the way that the juicy fruity notes in there, you know, even though it's a cherry focused beer, you do get these other kind of subtleties to it as well. But the cherries, you know, whenever you add fruit into a beer and things like that, and even when you're doing it in a sour beer situation with fodders and stuff like that, you always get the juiciness around the edge of the palate, and you can really get that here. Those dark sweet cherry flavours really just linger around the edge of the palate, and like I say, when you take this beer in, it comes in a really sharp and kind of puckering manner, and then it just oils up, and then you start to get the juicy notes out of it. As I say, for me, sour beers, it's all about the transition that these that the fruity kind of things and the sour character of the beer makes, and how you can balance that out with the sweet and woody end of the beer. And you know, this one just does it absolutely beautifully. This is an awesome beer. If you get the chance to try this one, have a go at it. I mean, the Mikkeller Baghaven beers are a little bit pricey. I think I paid like 135 Danish kroners for this one, so that must be, what's that going to be, about 180 Swedish, which is like £15 or something. Which, you know, you have to remember, it's a Danish price, labour in Denmark's more expensive and so on. It is a little bit pricey, but for a treat beer, it's worth it, and especially for this one, which is really very nice. I've tried a good few of the Mikkeller Baghaven beers, and this is one that really kind of strikes me actually. I really like this one. I'd love to be able to review these a bit more regularly, but you know, you can't justify spending that much on a beer every week, so yeah, just have to go with these when I can get a hold of them. But this one really is lovely. And to me, it strikes me really as one of the bigger and more oily and juicy sours that I've come across actually. I really like this one very much. Kind of wish, you know, I was in two minds about whether to keep this one or whether to try it, but I really wanted to do a proper kind of sit down review of it, and I'm not sure how bottle aging, I mean, for me it's all about the aging in the barrel rather than in the bottle. I think when it comes to these styles of beers, they can evolve a little bit in the bottle, but that's something I need to experiment with a little bit more and build my knowledge on that. But I really just wanted to sit down and do a review of this, and it's turned out, I have to say, it's an absolutely just beautiful, beautiful beer, this one. Get one of these for yourselves and just have a go at it. In terms of the mouthfeel then, for me this is quite a full-bodied beer, especially in terms of the sours. This is one of the thicker kind of sour beers, wild ales, whatever you want to call it, that you're going to come across. So yeah, definitely a big, thick, oily sour beer. The carbonation is very, very smooth in this, but you wouldn't have thought that when you saw the all the carbonation being active in the glass earlier on. But like I say, it's a big, big oily mouthfeel, this one. It does have a good bit of tartness in the beginning, but it smooths out very nicely and just leans towards that oily end of the spectrum later on. As I said, the middle of your palate is very, very smooth. It does get a bit thicker, as I say, and you get a little bit of a brown sugary kind of note to the beer as well. A little bit of sweeter vanilla as you push further forward on the palate too. So it's got a nice, big, smooth, but again slightly oily character in the middle of the palate. There's very little in the way of hoppy bitterness to this one. I'd be surprised if it's more than 10 IBUs or something like that. But then the fruity, juicy notes that you get out of this beer, they're big and massive and oily, but you've got a really nice kind of puckering quality as you take this beer in, and it just smooths out absolutely beautifully. So yeah, for me, I've tried a good few beers on tap and things from Mikkeller Baghaven, and this is one of the best ones that I've had so far actually, and it's very unique and Danish as well actually. So I think on the basis of this one, I do need to try and review some creeks for you on the channel at some point as well, because that's an area that the channel is really lacking in, to be honest. I do need to try and review a few more of the lambics, and it was Chris Contreras, my very kind subscriber, who sent me all the treehouse stuff. He was the one who really got me into some of the lambics and things like that a bit more. So this whole evolution of my palate towards sour beers has really come from the original Fontaine beers that he sent me a little back. So a big thank you to him for sort of opening my eyes to this style as well, to be honest. But yeah, this is a beautiful beer, like I said. Have a go at it for yourself and just see what you think. I'm going to keep an eye out for some other sour beers at Mikkeller Baghaven as well, and of course there's lots of other breweries doing these as well, so definitely some more sour beers to come on the channel for you over the coming months and years and stuff like that. I've really started to enjoy these now. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was the Stevnsbær, an 8% kind of creek using a Danish variety of cherry called Stevnsbær. Beautiful, beautiful beer, this one. You can really see how Mikkeller Baghaven have kind of kicked on since they started off, and they've got some really awesome stuff. For those in Belgium, I think, that are used to the big boys like Boon and Fontaine and Cantillon and all these kind of things, I think the Mikkeller beers do hold up against those very, very well. But Mikkeller have been doing sour beers for quite a long time, the Spontans and stuff as well. So yeah, they are pretty good in this area too. So do give some of the Mikkeller sour beers a go, whether they're under the regular Mikkeller name or the Baghaven stuff. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one then. It's been awesome to review this beer. Thank you again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Mikkeller Baghaven as well, and Mikkeller in general. But thank you again for watching. Check out my social media. Go and visit Mikkeller Baghaven in Refshaløen in Copenhagen. Go and visit Copenhagen. It is genuinely one of the best beer cities in the world in my mind, and it's a beautiful place as well. I'm really lucky to live very close to there. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. This is the Stevnsbær from Mikkeller Baghaven in Refshaløen, Copenhagen in Denmark. Really glad to be able to review this beer for you, and I hope you've enjoyed this review. Slàinte, skål, cheers. Make sure you check out Mikkeller Baghaven.